I am here to read another book for you. I wanted to read another children's book, and it occurred to me that I should read one of the children's books that my partner works on. Well, technically, it occurred to him that I should read one of the books that he works on, but I thought it was a good idea. So he works on a series of books that are called Ordinary People Change the World. He works with the illustrator, Chris Eliopoulos, to help get the pictures ready for Chris to put colors into. So what I love about that is that it really shows that there are so many different ways that you can help do what you love to do. So if you love books, but you don't always love the stories that you write, or you don't always like your pictures, then there are probably ways that you can still be part of the process and be a part of something that you love to do. Of course, I still think you should write, and I still think you should draw pictures if that's also what you love, but you can find different ways to be involved. So what's cool about these books is that they take famous people from history and illustrate the book with the character, with the person as a child. So it's really about kind of finding that childhood joy and following them from when they kind of discovered their passion up through some of the facts later in their lives. So they're really pretty cool. There's lots of them. This one is one of my favorite ones. I'm Harriet Tubman. And there's Jane Goodall one, which is super cute because obviously chimps. Helen Keller, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Albert Einstein. I'm looking at the also available section on the back of this book. So there's a whole series. They're all really just super cute. Chris has illustrated and I think written a new series that's coming out too. So, and it uses the same sort of style. So I really just love them so much. But I Am Amelia Earhart is Bobby, my partner's favorite one. So I'm going to read this one for him. And he is asleep right now and does not know I snuck into his office and stole these. So don't do that. That's bad. As usual, I'll read a page and then I'll turn it around so that you can see the pictures too. I am Amelia Earhart. When I was little, people told me that girls should wear dresses and play with dolls. They said we shouldn't have unladylike adventures. I didn't agree. Look at her face. In fact, when I was 7 years old, my sister and I decided to build our own roller coaster in our backyard. We placed 2 planks of wood up against the side of our tool shed. The cab was a wooden packing box with roller skate wheels attached to the bottom. We greased the wood with lard so we'd move super fast. Grandma's not gonna like this, her sister says. Amelia, are you sure this is a good idea? This isn't a good idea. It's the best idea. Of course, I got to ride first. This was my moment. Here we go in 3, 2. She's counting down. Oh my gosh, look at their faces. They are really not sure about this. I still remember the wind in my face. My stomach seemed to sink. I was flying. Look at her. And look at her sister. Amelia Earhart, take it apart this instant. The crash was loud and noisy and messy. It certainly wasn't ladylike, but it was awesome. It wasn't the last time I would fly. As I got older, I went to many air shows. When I was 23 years old, but still a kid at heart, my dad took me to meet Frank Hawks, a man who would eventually set many of his own flight records. For $10, Hawks agreed to take me on my very first flight. Are you ready? I'm ready. For 10 minutes, we flew through the sky and over the Pacific Ocean. By the time I was 200 or 300 feet off the ground, I knew one thing. I had to fly. And look at this. I'm not holding the book upside down. She's upside down in that plane. What? To save for my flying lessons, I worked as a truck driver, which wasn't ladylike either, a stenographer, which is a fancy schmancy word for someone who writes down what people say, and even a photographer. Move it, Mac. Blah, 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 blah. Six months after I learned to fly, I bought a bright yellow used biplane that I named Canary. Canary is a cool name for a plane, right? This is my instructor, a woman named Netta Snook. That's her real name. That was Amelia's early teacher. But here's my secret. I wasn't a natural. I wasn't the best pilot. I just worked harder than everyone else. That's enough flying for today, the teacher says. No, I can do better. One more flight. Most important, like that day on the roller coaster, I dared to do what so many said couldn't be done. I became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, and then the first woman to fly by myself across the Atlantic Ocean. Back then, people took boats to get to Europe, sailing for weeks. Planes were still a new thing. In fact, on the day I took off, one magazine ran an article that said women would never be able to fly that far. Here's a conversation. A girl flying across the Atlantic. Amelia, you sure this is a good idea? This isn't a good idea. It's the best idea. To do it, I had to fly for 14 hours and 56 minutes with no rest, no break. Sometimes the sun was so blinding I could barely see where I was going. In the process, I also broke the record for crossing the ocean in the shortest time, doing it faster than any man or woman ever. This is awesome. Then I broke an altitude record, which is just a fancy schmancy way of saying I went higher than anyone else. How high did I go? About 12 Empire State Buildings straight up at a time when no woman had ever gone that high. In October 1922, I broke the women's altitude record by rising to 14,000 feet. And in July 1930, I set a speed record of over 181 miles per hour. In my life, I took many flights. Every single time there was someone who said that I wouldn't be able to do it. Look at her face in this picture. What feeling do you think that is? Never let anyone stop you. Whatever your dream is, chase it. Work hard for it. You'll find it. It is the best lesson I can give you. I am Amelia Earhart. I know no bounds, and I hope you'll remember that the greatest flight you'll ever take is the one no one has tried before. Look at these two kids. They're so excited. Here's a great Amelia Earhart quote. Never interrupt someone doing what you said couldn't be done. Another cool thing about these books is that in the back, there are historical pictures and facts from the person's life. I hope you liked that story as much as I did. See you next time.